When I made the initial video about the Hitbox Arcade controller, I had only been using it for just over 2 months. I've now used it exclusively for close to 6 months. When I say close, I mean like 4 days short of a full 6-month cycle, so now that I'm more familiar with this controller, have any of my opinions changed? Like, comment, subscribe and hit the bell notification icon so you don't miss any new uploads to my channel. It really helps out and I'm very much grateful for it. If you remember, one of the biggest adaptation problems I had was that jump button. Unless you're already accustomed to playing on a keyboard with jump being the spacebar, this will be an issue for most people coming from either an arcade stick or even a pad. I mentioned that I still hadn't decided which hand to use for the jump button, but in the end I naturally ended up using my right thumb. I didn't make a conscious decision here, but rather let it happen naturally. I guess it makes sense because now my fingers are pretty much doing the exact same things they are doing when I'm typing on a keyboard. I'm not saying that this is the way to go, but it's the most comfortable for me. With this level of comfort, certain inputs that weren't necessarily difficult but did add some sort of hectic twitchy movement to your wrist have now become super quick and calm inputs. Instant aerials in Granblue, for example, are consistently as instant as possible. Anti-IDPs in Street Fighter V, thanks to the input leniency in that game, are also so much more consistent for me now. Consistency really is the keyword here. I was perfectly capable of executing all of these things when I was still playing on stick, but now they feel reliable, deliberate, and calm. If you've been watching my Lucia Ranked Match diaries, you might be aware though that I'm still screwing up anti-airs quite frequently. That's just me still getting flustered by jump-ins I couldn't see. It's neither my choice of hands nor the controller that are at fault here, just my reactions. So yes, the jump button is no longer a problem. In fact, playing on Hitbox has actually allowed me to play on keyboard as well. It's nowhere near as comfortable as the keys are much smaller and in odd locations ergonomically speaking when you're trying to emulate that same feel, but I could open up my laptop on a train or plane, hit training mode and just play. I am on a Mac, so the only 2 fighting games I can think of that I could actually play are Skullgirls and Fancy Strike, but still, I could play those now without any extra peripherals. Playing on Hitbox has also allowed me to actually get to grips with a few types of games that I always struggled with, namely anime fighters, or air dashes really. I still hate tag-based games, but that has nothing to do with inputs, the controller can't help there. Anyway, I always had difficulties playing games that involved air dashing. I could honestly never do mid-air jump cancels or double jumps mid-combo, which I think is one and the same, but whatever. I could never do that no matter how much I practiced. Which led me to dislike the majority of those games as I could never get my hands to do what I wanted them to do. Having played the Guilty Gear Strive beta, getting to grips with Skullgirls and even trying out BlazBlue Central Fiction, yes, there's absolutely still quite a lot I need to get used to. But now it actually feels doable. Hitting jump mid-air mid-combo to extend the combo is now actually possible for me, and with possible I'm talking about reliability. Before, no matter how much I practiced, the success rate changed from day to day. I never felt that I was getting better at it or that I was more confident with my inputs, and I could never really grasp the timing of it either. Now I can see changes and progression while I'm practicing certain things with Nine the Phantom, for example. So with all this, the fact that I have a bigger selection of games I'm willing to try now, has my opinion on the Hitbox changed at all then? Nope, I still think it was one of my better purchasing decisions this year. My left wrist, which was the driving factor on all of this, isn't in pain anymore, and I enjoy playing on the Hitbox even more now than I did back when I did the original video. So no, if anything, I like the thing even more now than I did back then. Before I start listing the not so great things, I want to make it absolutely clear that I'm talking about little annoyances here. They really have nothing to do with the functionality of the Hitbox when you are in an actual match. These are little quality of life changes I would love to see in future revisions, but it doesn't change my opinion on how great I think this controller is. No, I don't want analog sticks added to the box, but I'd like to have the ability to use analog inputs. On my HorrorReal Arcade Pro 4, for example, you can switch the control stick from digital inputs to those of either the left or right analog stick. This doesn't really serve much of a purpose during actual gameplay, at least not for the games I play, but it does come in handy for menuing and camera stuff, like for instance with Tekken 7's customizations. You would want to spin the camera around to see how certain items look on your character after all. Having access to the L3 and R3 buttons for training and trial modes would be super helpful, be it recording, replaying inputs, or resetting the entire setup. Having those buttons would help tremendously. Currently I have to go through the PS4 button remapping system to get this done, and then hopefully remember to turn it off again before I play something else and wonder why my buttons don't work. Yeah, it would be nice to have those. Please just let me disable this button. The share button is unfortunately not customizable via the PS4 built-in button remapping system, and I really don't need it. I'd love to just turn that button into maybe just L3 or R3, but hitting that button by accident because I wanted to either hit options or the home button is one of the most aggravating things ever. Especially if you haven't switched its function to taking a screenshot, as it will then open up the share menu. I get that it's not major, but it's seriously annoying. The DualShock 4 and the DualSense have touchpads, and once again, so does the Hori Real Arcade Pro 4. Hold up, you might say here. The Hitbox does have a button in place of the touchpad. Yes, it does, and in some cases it works, but in others it doesn't. I guess it works when there's only one function attached to it, but seizes all functionality if there's more than one. For example, in Granblue I can use it in training mode because the button itself only resets the room. If I press a directional input like left, down or right in combination with that button, it now selects the position in said training room. In Street Fighter V on the other hand, the touchpad is split into 3 zones, which accomplish the same thing by hitting the zones respectively. It even has an actual touch mechanic to further save you time if for whatever reason you needed to turn this stuff on or off. As it has multiple purposes at once, the touch button on the Hitbox does absolutely nothing in Street Fighter V's training mode. It's a dead button. That's all I can think of right now, but overall, having more options with the available buttons, as well as maybe adding a few more buttons over here, would go a long way to make this already amazing piece of kit even better. I feel like I should point this out again just to make absolutely sure that there isn't some kind of misunderstanding. And none of these nitpicks are actual deal breakers. These are quality of life changes I would like to see and have nothing to do with the face of the controller. The 12 buttons you see in use while actually playing, they are perfect and I absolutely don't want anything changed about them. I should also mention that I'm not sponsored. I did pay for that thing with my own money. But yeah, I said that in the original video, I think. Whatever. I'm not sure if I will or even can make another video on the Hitbox Arcade controller. The thing has been lapped to hell and back, and for pretty much every fighting game out there as well. If you want me to talk about how I execute certain things on it and my thought process behind why I'm doing so, do let me know and I'll see what I can do. Be aware that this is not a promise that I actually will though. Have you picked up a Hitbox between my original video and this one? How long did it take you to get used to it, and are you happy with your purchase, or do you feel like you have wasted your money? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and follow me on Twitch and Twitter if you frequent those platforms. The links are in the description down below. Same as always, I'd like to thank the very few of you that watched this video all the way to the end. Thank you. My name's Sasa, and I will see you in the next video.